Taste Daily. Taste the Daily.
அனுஜ் ஸ்டைல்ஸ் ரகங்கள் பலவிதம் ஒவ்வொன்றும் உலகத்தரம்.
Holidays நாளே அது நம்ம GT Holidays தான். South India's #1 travel brand.
Hey, hi Anil.
Hi.
So what are we doing here?
So we are going to talk about Pushpa and why it's such a great film. Mainly, we want to discuss, explain the idiosyncrasies of Pushpa. There are very specific regional centric things that might not translate to a wider national audience, as Pushpa 2 is this big pan-India film. So we'll be doing this in English on a channel called Galatta Telugu, which is...
No, and the normal comment that we get is the channel's name is Galatta Telugu, but you're doing it in English. Change the channel name. That is one Trivikram level reply, but we are okay with it.
Yes.
I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to, we're doing this in English is because we want people, of the non-Telugu people, to discover Sukumar and what a cool filmmaker he is.
Anyway, Telugu people are rarely interested in listening to what I have to say mainly.
Anything
intellectual,
Okay. Let's not get there. So, Anil will be very positive here.
Yes.
This is film appreciation.
Yes.
I hate the word critic. We are trying to appreciate a film. We are not film critic. I'm not a film critic. I just share my thoughts. That's it. So, what was your first reaction when you watched Pushpa in a theater?
One of my proudest moments as a person who's talking about cinema is I got everything right about Pushpa before, like from the day they released the poster. I've been very positive about the film, and on day one I was very positive, like for people that might not know, because the film reached the Hindi shores a little late. So on day one, Telugu audience were they were not outright trashing the film, but they were confused. And the critics, the so-called critics, reviewers, who are the traditional establishment who speak about film and all, they were very disappointed in Pushpa, because Pushpa breaks many norms of Telugu cinema. Telugu cinema has this set standards, which is a very bad thing. I personally don't like most of the things, even though I'm a huge fan of Telugu cinema. But these they become sort of a baggage. So whenever those norms are not met, film usually receives a lot of criticism. So Pushpa was not received well. So one of my proudest moments, even though we were a very small channel back then, even we still are today, but we were a very, very small channel, and we did this 1.5 hour review of the film.
Okay.
So we got most things right. I mean, I'm very, like, that is my most favorite review of any movie. It's still available. You can check it out. It's in Telugu, but unfortunately. So I got most things right. So I'm very proud of that. I think that's our peak, and it's been downhill ever since.
No, it's not downhill.
Yeah.
So I remember watching the film in Chennai.
Okay.
Day one, I watched it in a multiplex called AGS, Madurai. I loved the film.
Okay, you loved it.
I loved it. On day one, I loved it. I think my first tweet, which I watched the film, I came down, I was sitting in the parking lot, I was waiting for the cab, and I was so happy and so excited. My first tweet is, one of the best entertainers of the year or something like that. I was hailing about the film.
So you found the film
I was hailing the film. Very entertaining. I wasn't bored for a second. And fortunately or unfortunately, this whole runtime discourse wasn't a big deal even 3 years ago. Discussion factor when Pushpa came out.
The COVID narrative took over.
In 2021 also, I don't remember people being shocked that Pushpa is like some 2 hours, 55 minutes long. I don't remember that.
And Sukumar is known for making
long films. So I still had problems with the film. My major problem was this last 25 minutes.
Okay.
When the moment Fahad Fazil enters, it entirely served as a setup for the next film, which I wasn't okay with, and I was pissed off when the end card read second interval. Okay, apart from that, I had a blast, and those last 25 minutes also, I've grown quite fond of them over time with rewatches, because I see that whole pride versus ego. No. Money versus pride. Okay. That whole money versus pride angle in Pushpa is superbly established with that whole Fahad Fazil track. So now I understand its meaning, but back then it just felt like a obvious setup for the next film, and I was like, why would you waste 25 minutes of my time, especially because you did such a great job for the first 150 minutes, and then you are doing something else. And I was so engrossed with the film that I forgot that Fahad Fazil was supposed to be in it.
Yes, yes. Even
I
was.
forgot
Even-
that okay,
even I
Fahad
was,
Fazil
yeah.
is a part of this film
Yes,
and all.
yes.
So that came as a shock, but Pushpa has an amazing rewatch value.
Yeah.
Like every
Yes.
time I watch it, I find something new in it.
Yeah.
A new dialogue or a new payoff
Yeah.
or a new edit choice.
If I can control the conversation for a few minutes.
Please,
So
please.
can we discuss on things like what the discourse got wrong initially? Like especially the Telugu discourse got certain things wrong. So like, can I ask you a question? If like as you were watching the movie in Chennai, Tamil cinema has certain standards, and was that the reason? Because Telugu people are not. This is one of the biggest criticisms. Telugu people are not. I mean, at least the establishment, media establishment, is not okay with non-beautiful actors on screen. It's a thing with Telugu cinema.
I remember this. I remember seeing a few tweets before Pushpa's release. I saw one tweet when Dako Dako Meka came out. There was one viral tweet from some guy saying that if this is how the whole film is going to look like, if this is how people are going to
Yes.
look and act, behave in the film, I'm assuming people in A centers will walk out within 30 minutes. That was a very
Yes.
viral tweet back then. I think KGF changed that, no? See, we obviously want films to be colorful. We want films to be colorful and all, but there have been instances where that was broken also. I think KGF, the entire thing
We
with
do
KGF
accept, in
being,
some cases, we do accept movies from other cultures, but when we make them as Telugu cinema, we are not that receptive largely. Even in Rangasthalam also, people are not this rugged.
but I think that was the USP, no, of Rangasthalam.
Yes, definitely. See, Rangasthalam is a great film. It is the greatest film of this century for me, Telugu cinema.
Sukumar's best film, and I
Yeah.
think it is
Yeah,
still
yeah.
Sukumar's best.
Sure.
No, that's what I'm saying. This whole de-glam thing, I think it is one of Pushpa's biggest USPs.
It looks natural and it suits the milieu of the film. But see, that's the point, right? So this establishment, I'm going to use this word again and again. So this media establishment has these certain expectations from a film, how a film should look, how a big film should look. So they feel like, I mean, these standards come. I don't know where these standards come from, but that is the criticism they'll have, because one of the famous reviews regarding RRR, one person said there's no romance in the film. So we have these set standard expectations from films.
Yeah, that's there.
Audience is changing, but the media takes I think usually it's the media who set the narrative, but it's quite the opposite here. It's very interesting thing that happens in our Telugu media. Of course, maybe maybe we are trying to change certain
that
things.
to an extent.
Yeah. I don't know how much of an impact we do have, but yeah, let's get back to Pushpa. So discourse, I think there is this difference between how Telugu audience see Pushpa and how rest of India sees Pushpa. There is a marked difference. This might shock our non-Telugu audience, but here largely our culture is divided into fandoms. Most fandoms do not celebrate Pushpa as a great film. They find it slow. They find it not a great film. They find it is sort of a rip-off of KGF.
That was also because of Bucci Babu Sana's statement. I remember that being the...
Yeah. So Bucci Babu Sana is this Telugu filmmaker who made Uppana, who's now
He's a part of Sukumar's team.
Yes. I think they are related as well. This is a common feature in Telugu industry also. Yeah.
No, again, I think people are going to hate us.
For?
Like, why are you propagating negativity about Telugu cinema?
No, we are stating facts.
Yeah.
See, the fundamental bottom line is we love Telugu cinema. That's why we do what we do.
But just because we love it doesn't mean we don't
we
get
have
to
to
point
appreciate
out.
it, yes.
Doesn't mean we have to keep appreciating.
Yeah, I criticize my own father for reference.
So, I remember Bucci Babu Sana's statement that
this is
Pushpa is better than, like, equal to 10 kg.
Yes.
That was weaponized against the
But
film.
even some, like we were having this discussion on one of our previous lives as well, but people were saying he was asked that question, will it match up to KGF? So that narrative already exists. I have a whole theory on it. Maybe we'll get into KGF, that whole KGF thing. I've come with notes, I've prepared. He's given me a task.
Scary. Yeah.
So this feels like college again. Okay. Yeah, so Telugu people do not see this as a bona fide great film. Of course, there is a certain section which does think it's a great film, but they go as far as to say Allu Arjun doesn't even deserve a national award for this film.
That purely comes from a place of know what
Vitriol.
it comes from. Yeah, that is just
But do you think like
no, he deserves it, man. He deserves it. Like on the rewatch, there are so many tiny nuances he got right. Be it with the way he's talking, be it with bro. Pushpa used sync sound.
They left
For
it,
some
for some portions,
for some
yes,
portions.
yes. Especially the initial portions, the whole Ajay portion, the whole family thing, I think is sync
Most
sound.
of the indoors,
Yes.
most of the indoor shots have sync sound.
Yesterday I was noticing where he comes and he talks to this Konda Reddy, we can actually hear horn noises.
Oh,
Yeah, yesterday.
which scene?
Where he explains to Konda Reddy that we can the whole tanker scene, the decoy thing.
Okay.
We can actually hear multiple times.
And even in that scene, that funeral scene, Konda Reddy's funeral, there every actor has their in their own voice, and I don't think any other commercial film of at least of this scale utilizing sync sound. And one of my biggest complaints is voice is a integral part of acting, which most of our actors don't. They recreate that. I understand that dubbing has its own set of challenges, and dubbing is a skill on its own, but acting comes together when it is with voice, right? So that is one factor which Allu Arjun did a pretty good job.
One nice side note, you don't get national award if you haven't dubbed for your role. So voice is a very integral part of acting, which of course other
not many, nobody.
Yes, not other, but national awards takes it very seriously. Okay, so can we take it? Can we go structurally, or let's keep it?
You want to go scene by scene from opening to?
I see. I think I have a defining line for Pushpa. So Pushpa, I've written this down. So the definition of great art is idiosyncrasies done well. And Pushpa, it is a series of idiosyncrasies. I mean, like yesterday I was observing, I rewatched it multiple times in the past few days, from the day you have given me the heads up. So every scene, I mean, usually in every movie there are filler scenes. Even in RRR we can find a filler scene here and there. Very few, but even there. But I don't think Pushpa, I did not appreciate this fact when I watched it for the first time. But when I was rewatching yesterday, there is not a single filler scene. And every scene, I think this is why they take so much time to shoot on set. They want to have something unique in the film, in the scene. First of all, there is no filler scene. And within that scene, they want to tell something unique. And I think I figured out the formula. It's, again, I'm coming up with another word. The formula that they have come up with is delayed release. So you have a set tempo for a scene. Like there is a to and fro dialogue, then the music will come and you'll have this. Music will never come, or the high will never come, the so-called elevation will never come at the moment you expect it to come.
It comes after 10 seconds or 15 seconds.
Yes.
And the best example for this is when he kills
that
Mowgli, and you get a reaction shot of Sunil, and then they are carrying the bodies. They show his body first, then they show Jekka Reddy, then the camera comes, and then you see Pushpa walk into the frame. He's leading them. That's when the music starts.
And it's not just for elevation scenes, it's also true for emotional scenes as well. So one great thing that Pushpa does is, or Sukumar does is, how realistic it is. So when in reality, people are not reacting emotionally while action is happening. People take time to process things. So whenever there, even in melodramatic scenes where you expect things to happen a certain way, people are lost in the chaos. That is usually not how Telugu cinema treats its scenes.
Cause action. I mean, the best example for this is Pushpa comes to know that Mangalam Srinu is cheating them. He goes and talks to Konda Reddy right after Uvantava. He says that, okay, we are getting paid only 25 lakhs when we can be making 2 crores. And then Konda Reddy tells him, why don't you go and talk to him? Then Pushpa relents. He's like, no, I'm not going to talk.
Too risky.
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk. It'll be better if you talk. And he's like, no, no, no. So Pushpa doesn't talk to him. Then this whole marriage thing happens.
Yes.
When he wants to get married,
Yes.
brother is coming there and he's creating a scene. He's devastated. He's pissed off. Then he's like, okay, you're trying to take away something. You have always taken away something which belonged to me. Now I'm not gonna let that happen. Then he's driven to take that risk. Because he knows that if he goes and he asks Mangalam Srinu, he knows he'll get fucked. So initially he's very hesitant. But now that he's in that emotional turmoil, he's willing to take that risk. And then he goes and informs Mangalam Srinu that he wants to sell the load directly to Murugan. In any other scene, you would in a normal film, I don't think a film would have waited to give the character a purpose. This is like a mini purpose. This is not an exact purpose. His purpose is like he wants to grow. He already has it in his mind. But despite that, the film is creating a mini battle, mini conflict, which is instigating him to do something. The film, Sukumar's writing, it gives that character that little instigating moment.
Leveling up the journey. I think I have something to say here in this scene as well. Should we go character by character or should we go scene by scene? Like how do you want to take it? Because I have certain things to say about Shrivalli as well. There's a lot of
We'll come to Shrivalli. Okay. We'll talk about writing first.
So Sukumar has been talking about this class struggle versus caste struggle right from his first film. So one thing I have always made this example. So Sukumar is Paranjit without actually claiming to be Paranjit. So from the very first film, there's always this narrative of caste difference, caste difference and class difference without actually mentioning those things.
But Anil, that is not something new to Telugu cinema, right?
Sure.
We have seen several films in which the lovers are divided by class, even though caste isn't specified. That's not unique to Sukumar is what I feel.
But grounding them in reality. So they use it as a plot point. So I had the same question to, I don't know if you can mention, but I had the same question to Hemant, Saptasagar Alidati. So I asked him, was the poverty a plot point for you or was it something part of the world itself or something that you want to explore? He gave this interesting answer. It exists, no? Like it exists all around. Poverty exists all around us. So there is a difference. Like the themes of rich and poor, the themes of oppression, these things have existed in Indian cinema forever. But what Sukumar does is, reality is not cinema, right? Even though those conflicts exist in real society also, but life goes on. People are not 24 hours sitting around and thinking how something is affecting my life, how the upper caste guy is oppressing me, how the rich guy is oppressing me. Those conversations happen in certain moments, but rest of the time life is happening and moving on. I think Sukumar captures that very well. And that is very important because he's making a point without it overtaking the film. I'm not saying what Paranjit is doing or what Mari Selvaraj is doing is bad, but fundamentally the themes exist to make the world a real place and to make us relate to the characters rather than them taking over the film itself.
That's what I think differentiates Sukumar and a Paranjit, to be very honest.
Even in a film like Jagadam, they are, see, all the Sukumar titles, I don't know if they are the same in Hindi or no, don't know, but all the titles are about the protagonist. They are describing the protagonist with their core emotion. So Arya is Arya, there is nothing. So Arya is the central character and how you see him is what the film is. So Jagadam is about Jagadam is his second film, starring Ram Pothneni. Again, it's a great film. It did not do commercially well here. So it's about the struggle the protagonist is going through inside. So it's the same. It carries on for Rangasthalam. Rangasthalam again.
Rangasthalam is, yeah.
So again, Pushpa is this. I think my co-host and I always have this discussion. Why Pushpa, right? Such an interesting thing. Why Pushpa? So Pushpa is Pushpa means flower in Telugu. Such a massive film, and you are naming the movie Pushpa.
Okay, pause. What would you suggest an alternative title for Pushpa?
No,
I think
Pushpa works.
Pushpa works, but if I have to go with an alternative title, Hulodu.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he's referred to as Coolod so many times.
Yes.
And he goes on to fucking prove all of them wrong and right about them. I think Coolod would have been a
Yes.
cool title.
Yes. Pushpa is a story of a 10-year-old. This guy is stuck when he's 10 years old. He had this traumatic experience when he was 10 years old. He lost his father and his mother is denied of this dignity, and it sticks to him. This changes his whole body, personality, his whole behavior, his whole mechanism. He has this chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Like all these things come up. So the growth of Pushpa, the emotional growth of Pushpa stops at the age of 10, whatever is the age of that kid at that point. So he's that flower. At that tender age, he's a flower, and that's what he is. And yesterday I noticed, I don't know if this is a micro detail or not. So when for the first time he says Pushpa and the flower and Kutiva.
The gun.
The gun is a flower thing. So it's a thing. Okay.
Yeah,
I saw it for the first time
No,
yesterday.
it is.
Okay,
yeah.
nice. So yeah, so the kid is a flower, and that's what the film is all about. So here, the themes of caste oppression, the themes of infidelity, the themes of shame, the themes of respect, pride, all these things come in. And he's never able to come out of it.
Yeah. Even though he's making waves materialistically.
Everything, yeah.
That is why that whole Fahad Fazil thing at the end matters.
Makes sense.
Because you become the most powerful guy in whatever Tirupati. And at the end, you're still being humiliated for your identity.
Yes.
So everything he has done until that point, it doesn't matter.
It gets undone on this point.
Yeah.
And even he doesn't want to let go also. So that is the defining mark of his character, and he's Pushpa forever. So the name is a metaphor for the age where his tenderness got destroyed.
Oh, I didn't really think.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, this is my reading.
Yeah.
So that's what Sukumar does beautifully. But KGF is a fairy tale of an achiever. Pushpa is not an achiever. But Pushpa is an extremely grounded film where Pushpa is not in control whenever his emotions are involved. Your protagonist is not in control. He's not able to. Maybe situations are out of, like usually situations are out of, like in RRR or any other Rajamouli films, the hero is always composed. He knows what to do and what not to do.
Because the conflict is mostly external.
Exactly. Yes.
In Pushpa,
it is internal.
He can kill 100 people.
Yes.
He can win everything. He can procure everything that he wants. But still, he is not able to
get over the fact that
he doesn't have a
he's illegitimate
family, that he is an illicit child.
Yes, he's a love child.
That is beautiful, no?
It's beautiful, and so it's done so well. I don't think, at least in the mainstream space, I don't think it gets appreciated enough. And I think it is one of the drawbacks that masses see in this film.
Okay. That they didn't like the fact that
he was a
even though the hero is so powerful, there is this vulnerable side to him.
Why is he not killing off his brother? Why is he not taking revenge?
That would be so easy.
Exactly.
No? Like the conflict wouldn't exist if he could do that.
Because he's not fighting his brother, right? So on day one, when he buys the car, he could, like on the day he gets 1 million or something, he could buy the whole house. Yeah. He could drive away his brother's family from home because he's capable of it. He's not a nice guy. He's a conflicted guy. He has his own moral dilemmas and all. He's not a nice guy. So he could do that.
He has all the muscle.
Yes. Yeah. So he could do that. But he doesn't. Whenever he sees his stepbrother, he gets into a shell. Yeah. The only time he breaks or like he tries to get violent with his brother is in that engagement scene where
he hits him. Yeah.
Where he's like outright. So there's this dialogue. I was kid back then. They took away everything from us,
including that locket.
Yes, including that locket. I think that restraint, that control of not being this bombastic, has made it a great film for us. But it has diluted the character's impact or the machoism or the whole superhero-ness of the character to certain sections of the
But
audience.
that's what actually makes him humanist.
Yes.
That's what actually humanizes him.
Yes. That's what makes it a great. So my whole point from all this is Pushpa is an actually great film.
It is like
It is.
It is.
It is.
No, in the second part, I'm
Yeah.
very curious to see how they are going to resolve the thing with the stepbrother.
Yes.
I'm not worried about Shekhawat. I'm not worried about those Japanese people. Like that, Pushpa can take care of.
Yes.
I'm very curious to see how he's
He
going
resolves,
to
yes.
resolve it, because this guy is very vulnerable.
Yes.
How will he find peace
Yes.
with the fact that he's been treated so badly?
Yes.
That is going to be
Yes.
that's going to be very challenging
Yes.
for the writer also. Man, there are so many things
Yes.
part 2 has to do, no?
Yes,
Like
sir.
so many characters.
Yeah. So we used to think earlier, at least initially, we used to think Pushpa was a badly edited film.
No. Yeah.
I used to have this impression from day one, because there's so much information. I was not absorbing the whole thing, because the moments hit me and I thought it was a great film on day one. I appreciated the film. All those things were there, but I did not realize how meticulously edited, like how great of how everything connects to everything. There's so many things happening and everything makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, there's no filler scene. And everything flows systematically. It's a shame that I think there are two editors for the film, right? Karthik Srinivas and Ruben. Now they have gone with Naveen Noli.
Speaking of editing, I wanted to add this point. Flow of the film, like we spoke about this, right?
Yes.
How the story flows. Like you
Yes.
establish something, you get to it.
Yes.
Pushpa doesn't exactly do that.
No.
After Shrivalli song, Shrivalli's father Muniratnam
Yes.
and the other guy Bhujanga, they get caught, and we are shown that they are caught,
Yes.
and the scene ends with Govindappa, who I actually he's one of my favorite characters.
Yes. Very
in the movie. Very nobody talks about. He's very cool.
Very cool. Because he's not a villain.
He's not. He's a nice guy.
Yes, he's a nice guy who's trying to protect forest.
He's a nice guy. Like there is a scene. There is a very small shot when Pushpa is trying to smuggle the red sanders. He creates a fake marriage, right? So Govindappa gives them money.
Yes. He's part of the system. Yeah.
Yeah, and he even quits after
Yes.
Bhujanga
Taking
dies because of him.
responsibility,
Yeah. Govindappa tells Bhujanga that there is something you have to do for me, and then I'll let you go. Cut.
Yes.
And then it goes to these comedy scenes
Yes.
where he's trying to woo Shrivalli. All those scenes happen. Then it comes back to Govindappa telling, reveal the address of go down to me. And once that is done, we are the go down is shown, and then that whole reward thing happens.
The edit, there is nothing wrong with the edit. It's a beautifully edited film.
Must have been a pain to edit, no?
Absolute
so many
chaos.
characters. How do you introduce Mangalam Srinu? How do you introduce Kondareddy? Like so many characters and so many plots that come together at one point.
Yes. And for people that don't know, all of these are not throwaway characters.
None of them
are throwaway characters, and they're all big actors. So all of them are actually disappointed. Rao Ramesh is disappointed. Of course, he doesn't come out and say it outright. But Rao Ramesh shot, I think, for 50 or 60 days. But we only get to see him in 3 or 4 scenes. Sunil had shot so many. Anasuya shot for so many days.
And the editing, bro, I'm telling you, like when the film cuts from, like all of these are written.
Yes.
Like Sukumar has written that this is how this scene flows.
It's a creative job. I don't think Sukumar.
No, some things like the scene where when we learn about Pushpa's traumatic backstory, that goes from
even
the
that
police.
That happens in episodes, right?
That also, like there are two, 3 episodes. That happens. That first time that happens, Pushpa is getting beaten by the police in the lockup, and you see a police constable, someone hit the lathi, and then it cuts to the teacher hitting scale. And likewise, there is one scene where we spoke about this, right? Govindappa, Bhujanga cutting to the temple scene. So you see this guy Keshava eat coconut, and that cuts to Govindappa eating. These are things I don't think you can get lucky once or twice. If it's happening more than twice, it means it's planned.
I don't think Pushpa can be described or spoken about on how much box office numbers it has done.
Yeah, I think the way Telugu people look at Pushpa and the way someone from Bihar is looking at
Yes,
Pushpa
it's
is,
totally different.
yeah, as a Telugu, I'm not trying to represent everyone. This is
Sure.
my theory.
These are broad generalizations, which
Yeah,
is internet
which
culture.
which
if you
is
don't know.
generalization is like one
Yeah.
of the core foundations of
Talking.
internet discourse or
Yeah.
talking about cinema. So I'm a guy sitting in Andhra Pradesh or Telangana looks at Pushpa as Allu Arjun, the actor,
Exactly.
trying to be cool, trying
Yes.
to be realistic.
Yes.
But for someone sitting in UP,
Yes.
it's just representation.
It
It
is
doesn't matter who Allu
because
Arjun
they
is.
don't know who Allu Arjun is.
Yeah,
Right. Now they are a fan of his.
that's it.
but
You're dead. You
yeah.
just said that. That's it.
It's fine.
I mean, they know who Allu Arjun
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
but definitely not someone
Yes.
who's working as a manual labor
No.
in UP. They
Yes.
might have known him through Pushpa only.
Yes.
No? Yeah.
Largely.
For them, he's Pushpa.
Yes.
But for us, it is
Yes.
Allu Arjun trying to be
Yes.
a character.
Exactly. So we are not getting into the deeper things of what the character is and how he's operating from a professional point of view. But for a person sitting in Bihar, or for a person who's from Bihar and working in Hyderabad or Bangalore or anywhere, any part of the country, he's seeing somebody coming through the ranks without actually losing out his original identity or his original outlook at the world. That is very important. Rocky Bhai, from the moment he becomes Rocky Bhai, again, this is not a knockoff. KGF is a totally different film. We can talk about that. But Rocky Bhai, I had the same issue with one of my favorite films of Rajamouli, Chhatrapati. The moment he becomes rich and powerful,
He's not doing what he used to do.
he's not the same person. Pushparaj wears a Gucci shirt, wears a Versace shirt, but he's wearing how Pushparaj would wear it.
In Chhatrapati, you suddenly see him wear
Very
suits.
stylish.
Yeah.
Because of course it's a different era film. I get all those things.
No, we're just talking about growth
Yes.
and how it can be represented. Yeah.
But he progresses into doing this chewing tobacco thing. He's not becoming posher. Even though he's wearing costly watch, he's wearing a Rolex, he's wearing all these designer clothes. But he's not losing who he is. Again, this is not a backhanded compliment. This is an actual compliment.
I keep coming back to that interaction with Fahad Fazil.
Yes.
Both of them are wearing white.
Yes.
When they meet for the first time, and that guy points it out,
Yes.
saying you might be wearing white, I might be wearing white, but you don't have what I have. So he's actually using the exterior to make a comment about his interior.
Yes. And that is the reason why they have to get naked in the end. That is why it makes sense. It was such a big knockoff in Telugu culture. Why do they have to get naked?
Yeah.
No, they have to get.
Apparently, Sukumar wanted them to get naked.
Yes.
fully.
And the dialogue is there. Like the dialogue is like as if they are butt naked, but they are not.
They are not.
It would have been wild.
It would have been wild, man.
Yeah.
I remember I watched the film and I came to office. I opened Twitter. Everybody is mocking that scene.
Yes.
Guys, that scene.
It wasn't received. It wasn't received well. I don't think it is still talked about.
I don't think people actually appreciate the intent of the scene and what it is actually saying. You look at that picture.
Because
two guys.
The thing is like they are not following the character's journey, right? They are looking at from now. Okay, see, one of the biggest.
But it's obvious only, no, Anil. Why don't you think people are? It's very obvious.
It's not. So I've heard this. One of the big reviewers, you and I know him. His whole argument was he's rich for the first 40 minutes of the film or 30 minutes of the film. Why does he still look the same after he got money?
That's the point. Okay. He missed the point. Okay.
Yes. So that's why, and I'm sure he was being representative of culture at large, Telugu culture at large. So Telugu people, that's how we are, right? We are this. We are a service industry, so we are into this like playing parts that see we are always trying to hide our internal identity. There is this beautiful scene in Evade Survanyam. I don't know if you guys have seen it. So
please watch it. It's on Sun Next.
Yes. So these people go to this posh, check out this house. There is this lady.
Yeah.
That's very important.
It's used as a comic device, but nobody.
Yes, that's what we are. As everybody is that. So I've grown up this. So I come from this region called Telangana. It's a very touchy subject here, but So consciously, while growing up, Hyderabad is in Telangana, right? But while growing up in school, I was told you should not speak the way you are speaking, because you will not go up in life if you speak the way you speak. I was told this. Like I was told consciously. I was like in a nook and no ఆయన నెట్టేశాడు. Like this is a Telugu thing. So
He's talking about the Telangana dialect.
I'm not trying to pull up any card here. This is something that I've seen. And I'm sure it happens. Like there is one more beautiful scene in SVSC.
Seethamaglu Sirmal Chettu is one of the greatest Telugu films of all time.
Yes.
You have to check it out. It's a beautiful cultural documentation of life in Andhra.
Yes.
You have to check it out.
Yes.
It's a beautiful film. It's a one piece. I don't think even the same director, the same actors, they can't recreate that film ever again.
Yes.
Period.
There is one moment where they're sitting at a restaurant, and it's the daughter who
Water
says
coolekkaleda
in this very beautiful Godavari accent, and it's the mother who says, why are you saying that ఏంటది ఊరోళ్ళ లాగా, like why are you behaving like a villager? Then the girl is like, మనం కాదా, like are we not villagers? So it's a constant theme. Like it doesn't matter where you are from in Telugu, large Telugu culture, whether you are a rich guy, you are a poor guy, everybody has this house persona and external persona.
And this thing has been a recurring element of comedy.
Yes.
If you look back, I'm not able to recall moments, but there must have been so many
Whole
moments.
Pedavamshi cinema, like there's like this whole Jandiala comedy is that, like you are wearing a suit but
You're behaving like ready.
Ready,
That's what they do, right? When the housemaid is yeah. Wow. But Pushpa is actually
Embracing.
standing up for them.
Yes. Yes. And that is that is new, right? So it takes time for people now embracing your own personality, identity. That is now like now the whole cultural cachet comes from how different you are from other people. So that's where your regional dialects, all these things are coming up. The invention of new language, all these things are coming up. So becoming a Godavari guy is cool. So being a Telangana guy is cool.
It's cool, yeah.
Being a Hyderabadi guy is cool. So all these things are coming into the foray. But this is like Pushpa was 4 years before all this.
Pushpa made manual labor school, man.
Exactly. Pushpa made eating. So this is called kai. I mean, I don't know if you can use the word or not. In that police station scene, he's actually putting that kaini thing, pavwa, I mean pudiya, like I don't think we call it jarda, chewing tobacco, and he's spitting it out. I'm not again condoning all this behavior, but I know again.
Oh, he spits it out in the police station.
In the police station.
Yeah.
So again, it is used as a mockery, but that is looked down by our people. But that is the very thing that makes Pushpa so relatable and such a realistic thing, and it goes beyond cinema. Nobody would have expected that Patna event to attract that huge crowd. Like nobody anticipated that. I don't think, again, like our Telugu culture is obsessed with numbers. So if you look at Pushpa's numbers, even though it did miracles in Hindi belt, I don't think it beats KGF 2 or Bahubali, or it doesn't come close, even Kalki numbers, right? So our people will say it's actually not that big of a hit. But what people should understand is people got conflated when I said it reopened theaters that were closed down. People related that with lockdown and all. No. In whole of Western UP, in whole of Bihar, in many regions of Jharkhand. In Jharkhand, the first multiplex was in Dhanbad, which opened around 2010-11. There was no multiplex in 2010 in Patna.
Oh.
So people here don't watch films.
Okay.
It's not like us at all. No, they are not. Completely they are not. So many traditional theaters shut down. But that got reopened to play Pushpa. So that is the importance and relevance of Pushpa. That might not collect money. And most of those prints might have been, again, I don't know if you can say this, they might have been not legal. But they reopened theaters that were shut down, not because of COVID, but as forever, it is. Forever. those theaters got opened because there was demand for Pushpa.
That's culturally
Yes,
significant.
yes. This is again after the OTT release.
Wow.
That is the relevance and impact of Pushpa. It cannot be seen through numbers. It cannot be seen through all this box office impact and all those things.
It's beyond
And,
that.
and we can't even document the impact of Pushpa.
Forget Patna and all. From what I have seen, my parents live in Pune.
Okay.
Okay. And one day my mom called me and asked me, when is Pushpa releasing? I was like, December 5th. And I asked her, why are you so interested all of a sudden? And my mom is like, no, I was at this kitty party in our community hall of our apartment. And there were so many women asking me, because my mom is Telugu, because they know that my mom is Telugu. They were asking her, when is Pushpa releasing? When is Pushpa? My mom is like, why are they asking me as if I am the producer of the film? I don't know. And also, I'm saying all these normal house homemakers, normal people who don't actually go to films like you and me, even they are interested in Pushpa in Maharashtra. That speaks something,
volumes.
right?
That speaks volumes.
All I want to say is, numbers don't give me kick. Like Lokesh Kanagaraj says. But those numbers will, like you said, there is no documentation of Pushpa once impact and reach. I'm sure Pushpa 2's numbers will be like a representation of its reach. They'll document that. So we'll have a metric to understand the film's reach. So that's what I'm excited about. Not 1,000 crores or 2,000 crores.
Like if Bahubali made whatever the number it made, its impact is around 0.7x of or 0.6x. It is less than the number it made because people wanted to watch a spectacle. But in terms of pure impact on how a movie is shaping up the life of somebody, if you're talking about that, I know it is a made up shit. I don't have any data on this. But
so trust me, bro.
Yes. So if the collections of Pushpa and Pushpa 2 are going to be X, the impact is going to be 5x or 10x. We can't measure it. But yes, like you have said, Pushpa 2 is going to give us a certain reference of the reach of the film. Definitely.
So, for someone whom you have to introduce, Sukumar, how would you describe him?
So, but for me, Sukumar is somebody I'm looking for.
Like you think he represents the best of K. Vishwanath and...
Yeah, he's an art filmmaker working under the blanket of a commercial filmmaker.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Because all other, like I enjoy Lokesh Kanagaraj, I enjoy Rajamouli, I enjoy Prashant Neel. Salar is one of my favorite films. So I enjoy all these things. I understand where these people are coming from. All of them have their own creativity. All of them are bringing uniqueness into the whole, their own flavor to the masala genre. All these things are true, and they are hugely impactful. I think the most impactful filmmaker of our generation is Lokesh Kanagaraj. We were discussing that day.
S.S. Rajamouli, no?
S.S. Rajamouli is not. People don't.
You mean influence, like people trying to mimic a filmmaker?
Yes.
That might be Lokesh because his style is. Because Lokesh himself doesn't have a unique style. Right? That itself is derived.
He is a conduit for the cool shit. He'll pick cool things from everywhere.
There's nothing wrong about it, guys. By the way, I'm telling you. Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of his.
Yeah.
So he's the guy who creates a great playlist. He always has a great records.
He's not entirely original, but it's very cool too.
Yeah.
You know why I love Sukumar? Okay, let's talk about Mr. S.S. Rajamouli, whom I love.
Yeah, we all love.
You look at S.S. Rajamouli film, you know that this is an S.S. Rajamouli film. You like it. You are like shaken by it. You are looking at it. You are awestruck by the visuals and all the visuals and ideas. You look at a Lokesh Kanagaraj film. You find it very cool. You are humming the music. You remember those moments. You know what kind of a filmmaker S.S. Rajamouli is and what kind of a filmmaker Lokesh Kanagaraj is. But you look at a Sukumar film or you look at his filmography and you will know what kind of person Sukumar is.
Yes.
That's the difference. You look at an Annaku Premato, you look at an Arya 2, you look at a Rangasthalam, you will know what kind of a man Sukumar is. Like his films are so personal. Like it's almost like you can see that person there.
Yes.
Like his through his characters, the way they behave. You spoke about idiosyncrasies, right?
Yeah.
All of them,
I think
they come from
right from
himself.
the title, it's about the protagonist, and I think much of his protagonists are a part of him. He's exploring one aspect of his own personality through his characters.
నాన్నకు ప్రేమతో
Everything.
వన్ నేను ఒక్కడినే రంగస్థలం పుష్ప. You look at his films and you know, okay, this is one part of Sukumar.
Yes.
Like this scene has Sukumar's life experience in it.
And he's
You
an
see
interesting
that.
person too, so that's why.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to write Arya too, I don't think you can be a normal guy.
No. Yes.
You can't be a normal guy if you are creating an
yeah.
Arya too.
And there are very problematic elements in all his films.
All his
Especially-
films, yeah. Like,
and that's what makes him an interesting person. Even though I'm not celebrating those problematic elements, but I think they have a right to exist.
they can. Even in Pushpa, the Shrivalli angle didn't work for me.
I'll get to
Because-
Shrivalli.
yeah,
Shrivalli is a very interesting perspective. I mean, it's a very interesting study on its own.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
then.
Okay,
My
but
problem is-
I'll finish with this point. Like you were saying, they are so personable, right? So again, from the audience perspective, it will define, like it will tell a lot about you as well. Like what is your favorite film of Sukumar is, and what's your least favorite film of Sukumar is. That will tell a lot about you also, because they are not cinema as such. They are like
Phases of his life
and they are people
manifesting.
Yeah. And who is the person that you are vibing with defines you as well. For me, the defining scene in whole.
Let me guess. When she comes and talks to him.
No, it's before that. That is very beautiful scene, very poignant scene. But the scene that you were saying, where he decides that taggedile, after the whole engagement thing, his mother, again in a standard Telugu cinema, mother would have died. Here the mother doesn't die because she has a role to play. But there he decides that I'll get this over with, right? He need to have this war. Here, the defining moment for me was, he wants money. He wants a commodity. He wants his ego. But in that moment, even the girl is denied to him. But he doesn't claim ownership over the girl. Because immediately, he leaves her. He leaves her that agency. I think this is where...
And she comes back to him.
Yes. So Pushpa never, even though there are problematic elements, he's trying to buy her love and all, those things are there.
Yeah.
I don't know how, I still don't know how to understand that. But I think Sukumar
And he says he's not as bad as Jagger.
No, he's not.
So,
Yeah. And Keshava points out like,
I didn't think you were as bad as... I'm not as bad as him, but you are the one who started it.
Yes. So he's not this morally upright character. Problematic characters exist in reality. So what is wrong in documenting them in cinema? But the flip side is...
Don't glorify them. Document them, but don't glorify them is what the counter argument always is.
Even when we are documenting, there is always a problem. Like, we can't show how certain gruesome acts of violence or sexual violence, we can't show them for what they are as it is. Because that in itself is titillating and voyeuristic. So that problem always exists. So I get both sides of the argument, but usually I am with the filmmakers and I want them to explore what they want to explore, and I get the other side of the argument as well. Again, Baby is a classic example. I think on Baby I side with women.
Baby, you guys are getting a Hindi remake.
Yeah. You will see what it is. And
I mean, the non-Telugu people.
Yeah. So you will know what is up. I don't know if they'll tone down things. I don't know.
I think they're going to amp it up, no?
It depends on who the producer of that film in Hindi is.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. Very interesting. It's going to generate so many conversations. Yeah. So in Pushpa, there are problematic elements in the film, but I think they deserve to exist. Because I got pissed off. I think I got pissed off when a particular section was chopped off in the theatrical version, and
that van scene.
Yes.
It was chopped off.
The angle was changed. It was cropped in or something.
Oh, okay.
We actually see. I mean, I don't know if we can talk about it or not. It is an intimate moment between Shrivalli and Allu Arjun or Pushpa. They are a couple. So they are going to be over each other's body. So what is wrong in that is something that I have not seen. But the other side of the argument is, usually women in our industry, especially Telugu industry, don't have agency to say no, especially in such a big film where an upcoming actress, or even like who's not as big as she is today, she might not have the agency to say no. So I get that argument. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. Obviously, it happens. We all know. So leaving that aside, but purely from a film point of view, because we don't know what the reality of the situation is. So I would have liked that scene to exist as it was, but this ruckus was created and that was chopped off.
I'll tell you what my problem with that
Okay.
that scene that you just called poignant, no, where she goes to Pushpa right before she's forced to sleep with Jalreddy. My problem with that scene is, I wasn't convinced with the fact that she was loving him. It came across as very opportunistic.
Okay.
Okay, see, if she genuinely cared for him, if she genuinely meant what she said, that when I came to know that you were losing your shit for me, it felt very cute. I started taking a liking. When she's saying those things, if she actually means those things, why didn't she check on him when his mom is admitted in the hospital? Not hospital. After that, that whole conversation would have felt way more meaningful if Shrivalli came to him, not just because the need rose.
I think maybe
She
this
going to him
yes.
After Jalreddy forces her to sleep with her felt like a defense,
So
act of defense.
we'll have to break this down. So the whole Shrivalli character, the whole arc got crunched because of the timeline. But why I'm still with the character is the building blocks are there. So again here I'm inferring things. So these things don't exist in the film. So you can take the position that Ram is taking, or you can take the position that I am trying to make here. So I'm sure there must have been one or two scenes they got chopped off, or they did not get shoot, or whatever.
But they're meeting for the first time during that moment only.
Yes.
No, he says that. Why?
Yes, true. I'm sure like they might have planned, and he might not be aware also that she is keeping a tab on him. Those things could have been established, like communicated in a better way. But for me, the building blocks of their whole relationship is their whole relationship is on and off. It comes that way in the film, and they are used to not seeing each other, or not being okay, or being around with each other for significant gaps of time. And this is also a thing of the timeline that they were living in.
Okay. There were no phones,
There were no
video
phones,
calls.
and it was not okay for people to be around. Again, the counter question might be, she's okay with like going and kissing. That is where the idiosyncrasy comes in. But
Or inconsistency.
I would
think of it as inconsistency.
Okay.
Yeah.
But here it works for me because like he at one point he says, "Nuvu taggadi macha, nuvu endu maatladadu." So that is an inconsistency, right? But that gets sold because
it's funny.
I don't think it's funny because we get it. He's desperate. He's horny, whatever. And he's making to willing that compromise, and it's not hurting his ego. Because it's
not a pride thing.
Yes. So it works, right? So similarly, him taking that step, breaking out, I mean, like how men and women should interact in that point of time, maybe in the 90s. I think movie set in the 90s. 98. So in 90s, late 90s, I don't think women in Chittoor or in Tirupati, women and men were talking.
Had that freedom.
Yeah. Especially rural, of course. In the cities they might have. In rural areas, they had that thing. So nobody reacts shockingly when he offers money for a kiss. So that is an inconsistency, but when we look at it from a timeline point of view, but it works because love makes people do crazy shit. So we can justify it from Pushpa's point of view, like, but from the female character's point of view, her character is established as not being normal. See, this is where I have written this down. The most underwritten, the most undertalked thing about Pushpa are its montages. There's actually storytelling happening within the story.
First of all, I don't think they are montages. I think they were shot as scenes, and then they had to be reduced. The shot length had to be reduced because they had overshot. That's what I feel. Because there are a lot of shots, there are a lot of montages. Even I love them, but I think they were actually shot as scenes and then they ended up as montages, is what I feel.
I choose to believe they are montages. But what?
No,
Okay.
with Sukumar, yeah, I don't think a filmmaker will spend that much time on
Shaker might be an exception. Shaker Kamala.
Shekhar Kamala. Yeah.
Again, Shaker Kamala is one more great filmmaker. I don't think much of non-Telugu audience
He's
know
one
him.
of,
The legend bona fide.
yeah, he's like a game changer.
Yes. Her introduction, Shrivalli's introduction, is this girl. She's introduced as this girl who doesn't follow any convention. She's doing her own thing. So, in scenes where it is shown as she doesn't have any agency, that is just her being coy or her being in a stealthy mode. Every decision in her life is happening from her control. So she feels she doesn't need to go and talk to Pushpa because she doesn't want to lose the narrative of you have come to me. For me, that makes sense.
Okay.
But when she finally loses control over her life, that's where she goes back. That's when she goes back to him. It makes sense to me. Again, it's not established. These are all inferences. But the character, the building blocks are there for me to connect the dots. Because she doesn't like, there is this one shot where she is, because they don't have a son in the family. She's the elder son. Right?
Bed, she fixes the bed,
she's
right?
fixing the bed, right?
Yeah.
Parallelly, in the background, her mother is making up the hair of the younger sister. So her mother, when in appreciation, like she's very proud of herself for doing it. She does this.
And she doesn't like
it. So the whole she has her own agency and she likes certain things, she doesn't like certain things. But all these things are happening within the bounds of the society. She's not going beyond the boundaries of the society. Sukumar has thought about these things. Again, in implementation, it works for me. It works for me. And that scene in itself is very beautiful because Pushpa is again being Pushpa. He doesn't want to take the unnecessary risk because he thinks she doesn't love him. And he's like, as he's he's all about business. And his father tried to hurt the business. So he has that one antagonistic point.
He says that.
Yes,
no?
he says that. And he's pissed off at his father for cancelling of the marriage. There's all this narrative happening. So usually Telugu cinema hero would still go and save the day. How in Kangua.
I haven't seen Kangua.
Sad. I mean, lucky. So in Kangua, he goes out of this way to save this character, this little child. But in Pushpa, he's like, go.
Reluctant, yeah.
Not even reluctant. He's like, go. Like if Jalreddy is asking you to come, go. I mean, it is such a non-Telugu hero thing to say. Like saving the pride of a woman is the utmost priority of any hero, of any Telugu cinema hero. And we are so obsessed with it, we even change epics. I don't like to get into the controversy and say what it is. But Telugu cinema changed certain epics to portray a man as not totally evil by saving by protecting the honor of a woman. So we take it that serious. It's the primary building block of a character, how he's treating women. Is he willing to sacrifice his life or taking risk in saving the honor of a woman? That is a very big thing, very big theme in Telugu cinema. And here hero is casually saying, I don't care. That is such a big risky move. I'm sure I don't think they'll take the same call again. And in Pushpa 2, I don't think they'll take the same call again.
Won't take many brave choices. They have to be a little safe now.
Yes. They'll amp up the whole bombastic elements where he's being stylish, swaggy and all. But
the tiny things might take a backseat is what I am afraid of.
No, they are going for the cute things. The whole romance is now cute. They are not, there are no, I mean, from the looks of it, I don't know. I still trust Sukumar and all, but I don't think they'll take the problematic calls. Where he's like okay with somebody getting attacked and he doesn't care.
They made him a messiah, right? Even in the first glimpse. So.
Again, that is coming from heroine's pressure. Again, they are going for the whole. that's where I think he should be able to justify, I'm doing it for my wife, not for you. They'll have to drive home that point. Again, these are all speculations.
Speculations, theories.
Yeah, these are all theories. They'll have to drive home that point. Okay, I'm not doing it for her. I'm not doing it for people's sake. I'm doing it for my wife's sake because she likes it. She likes it and he's doing it for them, maybe.
Let's talk about filmmaking. Like we spoke a lot about
Yes.
themes and all. Let's
Yes.
talk about Pushpa's
Filmmaking. Again, one more underrated aspect.
Staging, the cinematography.
Cinematography.
It is so fluidic.
Colors, how it uses contrast. For me, I spoke at length about this on day one. For me, Pushpa is such a technical achievement because finally we figured out, Telugu cinema figured out how to use a digital camera. Even though we have been using digital cameras in the last 10-15 years, I think Athariniki Daredi was the last major film that was shot on film on celluloid. So Athariniki Daredi was in 13
September.
So for 10 years we've been shooting on, like 5 years before that. So around 15 years we've been shooting digitally.
Yeah.
But we haven't figured out. So this is most audience might not find value in this. So how a film behaves with light and how a digital camera behaves with light are totally different. So film needs lot of light because it struggles highlights, then there are shadows right on a film. When we come to digital, they're very sensitive. Digital sensors are very sensitive. So they can get the shadows right easily, but they don't get the highlights that well. And it's a very tricky thing, and I still believe film is king. Because we can control the shadows, but we can't control the highlights. You can't control the fucking sun, right? So that's the problem. So the Indian movies look very tacky, and Telugu movies look especially tackier. So for the first time,
it doesn't look like we are promoting Telugu cinema here.
The very fact that we are talking about Telugu cinema, and the very fact that we are making an effort to do this, shows, I think, actions speak louder than words.
They might not resonate with everyone, but
Sure.
it's okay to talk
Yes, exactly.
about things in a different angle.
Yes, but the whole point is like there's room for improvement.
Yeah.
We want cinema to do better, Telugu cinema to go places. For that to happen, we need to point out what are the flaws that currently exist in the system. So the whole argument in Telugu discourse is, you pump it up, the change will happen automatically. I don't think that's how it works. There is the concept called calcification. You have to set the bone straight first, then it will happen. Once the bone is set in the wrong position, it's going to be like that forever. So we need to cut down all the scrap. It's a very common used word here. Scrap. We need to eliminate all the scrap for us to grow longer. So that is the role that we are trying to. That is a discussion. At least we are making an attempt to have that discussion here. So that is all. So we are not hating on Telugu cinema. We are huge fans of Telugu cinema, and I'm claiming Pushpa is one of the greatest films ever made on Indian cinema. So what Telugu people don't resonate with Pushpa, that's a whole different discussion.
You had to underline that, no?
Yeah,
you had to.
Because that is going to be the most common thing. And so let's talk about the craft, right? Yeah. So what I was very proud of was, even though Kuba is not an Indian DOP, he's what? He's Polish.
Polish, yeah.
Okay. Because it shows Pushpa looks wildly different to a standard Telugu cinema, or even to a standard Indian cinema. But
so what exactly defines an Indian film cinematography to you?
Many DOPs, this famous DOP talks about this face molding. So we like our actors' faces to be certain way. Face has to look like everything has to be a pre-wedding shoot, but that's not how faces look in an indoor setting. So
we basically this is cinema, this is movie, and a movie has to look like a movie.
Yes,
that is the norm that most of cinematographers go with. Yes. A movie has to look like a movie. Like there are
an actor has to
look like a star. He has to look like a hero of a film.
Even if he is a poor guy, his face has to look a certain way. And more importantly, he has to stand out in comparison
when surrounded by
yes,
everyone.
Yes.
Pushpa also does it, but
Yes.
it does it in a very cool way.
Through body language. He's not wearing any different clothes.
No, I mean, like, the tools that it uses, no? Like, there is one shot in Ye Bidda Idina Adda where everyone is covered in mud. Even he's also...
His face, yeah, his face doesn't. That is
Yeah.
a dance thing. That is
That's
like
a choreographer thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sukumar, and I'll give credit here to Allu Arjun for actually being okay with whatever was happening. Usually it's the star who puts the foot down. No, I can't.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
can't
yeah,
happen. KGF has this whole stylistic thing, high contrast thing, but it doesn't invent anything. And especially from an industry where they are working with low budgets and like it's wacky, and implementing that project is very difficult. So I'll give him I'm not taking anything away from KGF. But
what's that film, man? That Frank Miller comic, Sin City.
Yeah, Sin City.
That look is also now being
hyper contrast look, black and white, popping up certain
Salar?
colors. Salar, yeah, Salar. But Pushpa for a regular audience might not come off as that special. But Pushpa is a original look.
Because it doesn't, like I said, the statement that I made earlier. I don't think Pushpa cares about looking like a movie.
Yes.
It's okay with this doesn't have to look like a movie.
There are no, it's very cinematic, but those cinematic values are not being drawn upon from the well that already exists.
From the references that already exist.
Yes. So they are creating something new.
I think this is where you take something like an Annaku Prematore One Nenu Okkadine. There are reference points for that.
For everything.
Like Bond, like Mission Impossible, all. For Pushpa, there isn't a strong...
Yes. But unfortunately, those movies are considered original and Pushpa is not considered original because it...
Is that so?
Yes.
Really?
Really. Pushpa is considered a knockoff because it has a similar rags to riches plot line, underdog.
Man, that is such a reductive way to look at the film.
But people see, these are the things, right? People can only talk about things they fundamentally understand. This is not a knockoff. People understand story because that's what Indians are.
It's easy.
They get stories because every Indian is a storyteller. These things exist. So my whole point is story is overrated. Why? Because if you study theory, again, theories have come out of stories. So it's not the other way around. I get that point. But still, the whole Joseph Campbell theory, the whole archetypes, or all the Vladimir Prop archetypes, all the beat sheets, all the sit field, all these theories exist because the template exists. That's how we remember them, and that's how we recollect them, and that's how we document them. So this underdog story exists. It's just that one KGF and one Pushpa have come like close quarters, like one within 2-3 years of their release. Of course, we have not seen Pushpa 2 yet. Pushpa is a whole different film onto its own, and the things that make it unique and great are often not discussed in our culture, and that is what we are trying to do here. And one of the primary thing, because again, if you ask somebody which is more interesting in terms of its looks, so people will obviously say KGF.
Because it's easier to discern that. It obviously has a unique look.
In Indian cinema. Pushpa also stands out, but it stands out in a certain way how an intelligent person would stand out in a society. Unless you come to the topic of discussion, you'll not realize he's a smart person or he's a dumb person.
It's not obvious.
It's not
obvious from the way it is packaged.
There are so many single takes. There are so many this blurred background thing. I don't think in Pushpa there are many shots like that. Most of it is wide. Most of it is like open.
See, because if you take the cinematic mode in any phone, what does the cinematic mode do?
Blurring the background.
It just blurs the background. That is what we consider as
cinematic. Yes.
Yeah.
That is the standard that has been set. So it resembles reality so closely. People often undervalue the cinematic aspects of that and how it is resembling reality, right? So subconsciously you might be thinking it's not that difficult to do because KGF is really difficult to do
because everything about it looks different.
Because of course it had to be made up. There's a lot of work going on, but in Pushpa there's actually, if not equal amount of work, I would say more amount of work is going on in Pushpa to make things realistic.
Because to make normal things look cinematic.
Yes.
Unlike a
Yes.
KGF where you are creating
Yes,
a different
yes.
world where there's a
I'll
different color
simply say,
palette.
yeah, I'll simply say throwaway shot. Like in Shrivalli song, three girls are coming on a bike wearing these glasses. The way they are looking,
One girl looks from this
yes,
side, the other girl looks from that side.
that's not normal.
Hmm.
Show me reference point for it in any other film. Somebody might, but I don't think there is. Like largely, Pushpa has been hailed as this two-man effort. That Sukumar and Allu Arjun. If I have to push, it's a three-man thing. But to establish, it's a three-man product. But if I have to expand it, I think it's a five-man product.
Including the editors?
No. I mean, they've done a
I mean,
great
the
job.
cinematography.
Cinematography, music. If you have to pick five-man team. But if I have to pick a three-man team, I think it's going to surprise you. It's obviously Allu Arjun, Sukumar, the director. The third most important person that helped in making Pushpa for what it is Chandra Bose. For me. Of course, Hindi lyrics are different. I have huge commentaries to make. It's a hit album. People love those songs. I understand. But there is a different storytelling happening through the songs.
Hmm.
Nobody gets Sukumar the way Chandra Bose gets him. If you break down Uantava lyrics, if you break down any lyric, Ye Bidda Idina Adda, all these things were criticized. Ye Bidda Idina Adda song is criticized even today. It is not considered a great song because people are looking at it from a production point of view. Like how many times they are listening to it. Chandra Bose can write beautifully written songs. Devi Sri Prasad can make banger songs. But their whole point was not to make a beautiful song. Their whole point was to make a song that tells you something about the world of Pushpa. That was their priority. Of course, it's a hit song. I'm not.
Even the way that song is edited is very cool, man.
Yes. So all these elements. I mean, if you look at Shrivalli lyrics, if you look at Nasami lyrics, Chandra Bose, the Oscar winner, you people might know him. But his best work for me, he has written some great songs, but his best work where a filmmaker and a lyricist have come and they have accentuated the product like it's a proper collaboration. I'll feel like you might think like he's actually being a screenwriter for the film. Like his contributions are so important.
Like I said, no, that about the way the song is edited. There is one moment where the mother comes to drop the wedding invitation, and then after she drops it, Ajay takes it, tears it off,
Yes.
and then the lyric goes to Gayam Kani Chesavante Kayanga Devunni Avutanu, which means until that point it's like I'll rise, but he's never talking about if you're trying to hurt me.
Yes, being victimized and all.
Because that's the only thing that can hurt Pushpa.
Yes.
Only the brother can hurt Pushpa. Nobody else can.
Yes.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Yeah, now only I'm realizing.
Like our contribution to world cinema is not the technical aspect. We are not beating out Spielberg or the West here. We are not even beating out the Hindi cinema here. Our contribution to world cinema is our thoughts, our way of conveying ideas. So if that is our contribution, lyrics play a very integral part in that, and Pushpa's lyrics are fundamental, like they condense Indian thought or Telugu thought like very rarely any movie does. They're very integral to what Pushpa is trying to say. Like if you study Pushpa's lyrics, you'll understand what Pushpa is all about.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if whenever you have a doubt, right, refer to a song. Your doubts
There'll
will
be an
get
answer
resolved.
to it in the lyrics.
Why is Pushpa behaving this way? Because it's being said in the lyrics.
The only literal moment I felt in Pushpa is when Fahad Fazil walks up to his house naked.
Dog. I also don't.
I don't like. That's the only
very
bit.
literal. Yeah.
That's the only bit I don't like in the
Yes.
entire film, where the security guard is like, I think
the
the dog doesn't recognize you because you are not dressed.
I think the ending
That's the only bit.
Ending was done in haste. They were rushing up. I think because that is the only place where the CG looks very obvious. It's not done well technically speaking. It works for me emotionally.
Yeah.
There are few shots in the film where it's not done well. Why I've not put the cinematographer in the top 3 is because there are certain compromises that had to be made. Because like they are shooting under a dense forest cover. You can't have sunlight there.
Yeah.
So they had to use artificial light.
Some lights.
So there are certain compromises. That's why I'm not putting him. But for me, Pushpa image is the best image shot on digital.
But to me, what's the best part of Pushpa is writing.
Sure.
It's writing. Like if I have to.
But who wrote
play,
Pushpa?
It's a teamwork, right?
Yes.
Written by Sukumar, dialogues by Srikant Vishwa.
So Srikant Vishwa, I think he's not talked about it all.
For good reasons only.
Why?
For the right reasons only. No, because the films that he's associated with, most of them are.
Sure.
I don't like most of the films that he's associated with.
But it's like but that is, I think that's where the problems with the industry come in, right? You are not allowed to flourish. Even usually writers are not allowed to flourish in our industry.
True.
So it takes them like 50-60 films to get into, like even people like Trivikram, Koratal, all these people had issues while they were just being writer. So I'm sure writers are bulldozed. So it needs the right team and the right director to bring the best out of people. That could be the possibility. I don't know. But okay, let's not get into reality here.
The point I'm making is, like for me, what stands tall in Pushpa is writing. Man.
Sure.
It's writing because, like I said,
So I'll ask you to pick here. So acting or writing?
Writing.
Writing.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
Acting is a close second, but to me, writing, because almost all the moments that we are talking about, or the moments that I found to be most enjoyable, are because of writing only. Like so many little things.
Can you explain? Like even every day, like no, alantodu ankoledu macha. That is.
Yeah, that all worked for me.
Yes.
నేను అలాంటి కాదు మచ్చా, కానీ నువ్వే ఇది మొదలు పెట్టినావు. So all of those things are funny.
ఊతిరాది అన్న అంటుంది
ముద్దిస్తానంటుంది. No, నేను వచ్చి ఇచ్చేదా. So no, that
one beautiful, like the whole police and Pushpa's to and fro.
గోవిందప్ప, no?
గోవిందప్ప.
I love that conversation.
దుబ్బులు పట్టుకొని వచ్చినావు అనుకున్నా, ఏది పడితే అది పట్టుకుంటావా?
పట్టుకోవడానికి కాలర్ కూడా లేదు. Because the first time గోవిందప్ప holds his collar, and second time he's wearing banian.
Yes.
Such a cool way, no? పట్టుకోవడానికి కాలర్ కూడా ఏం లేదు. Like that conversation he has with Govindappa.
I don't think that stretch is appreciated at all.
I don't know why people don't talk enough about Govindappa.
Because they don't watch Pushpa.
Because it's rare that you see a character like that treated with that dignity.
Yes.
He's never made fun of. He's never mocked. He's treated so well.
He would be a caricature usually.
Usually, right? Yeah. In any other film, he would have been reduced to a laughing stock.
Yes. Either a shrewd villain or a eripappa.
Pointless. That person Shatru, like he's very good in that film.
Yes.
Like that conversation he has with Pushpa, he tells him like, you're winning now, but you are in a fight which you'll eventually lose. And Pushpa casually dismisses it by saying, losers, this is losers talk. This is how losers talk. But I'm pretty sure this conversation will have an echo in the second part because it's Sukumar.
Yes. It already started to unfold in the first part itself.
I'm very eager to see Govindappa, man. I'm very eager to see.
I don't think he'll come back, but if he comes
he
back,
has to.
It will be very
like,
cool.
It'll be great if he comes back. At least you, what will you rate? You will rate acting above writing?
Writing. I'll rate writing over acting. But Allu Arjun's biggest contribution to Pushpa is not his acting, but his call to back this film.
Because at the end of the day, who's the decision maker when a star is involved?
Star, because the whole business is done on his name. But usually stars don't get things right. So when they don't go well, it's the director who's getting the name. So it's very weird. That's
what I'm saying. For me, it is Pushpa's writing, and there are so many nice little things in Pushpa. Like even the interval bang, which is on two levels, it's not a bang of sorts, but every dialogue underlines this guy's character and thought.
Yes.
Okay. Every dialogue.
So my co-host Bino has this, like, same thing is being told to you repeatedly in many different ways. Yes.
What I wanted to say is when Pushpa goes to talk to Mangalam and he just leaves casually. The brother-in-law comes and says, "Why did you let him go? I'm still in shock. Yeah, so what do you think? You think I'm in dream with your sister? I'm also in shock." Then he comes back,
Yes.
he fights all of
Yes.
them, and he says, I left not because you let me go,
Yes.
because I wanted to
Yes.
go.
I would make
He
it.
comes back,
Yes.
makes a statement, and goes.
Yes. This is the delayed release I was talking about.
Like there is one little moment where he goes to meet Murugan,
Yes.
and the tea
Chai.
vendor,
Tea.
it's 6:45.
Tea time.
Murugan, you have to send tea to Murugan. He said, no, Murugan will come to tea. In background, you see
Yes.
Murugan coming, man.
Yes.
Like this is a
Yes.
writing plus staging
Yes,
thing,
yes,
right?
yes.
Like this is a very insignificant scene,
Yes, yes.
but still there is thought.
Yes.
That is what I appreciate the most.
Again, this is where most Telugu audience will not appreciate when we say writing. They'll say, where is the great dialogue?
It doesn't it not okay.
Yes.
So great writing doesn't always mean wisdom, like
No.
we associate someone with someone like a Trivikram.
That's-
Sukumar does all these cute things
Yes.
where
These are
Keshava
not
is asking
natural.
about Keshava is asking Shrivalli and her friends to look at
Hmm.
look
Yes.
Chudu,
Hmm.
and he's talking to them outside a theater, and the theater is playing a film Chudalani
Yes.
undi.
Chudal.
Cute, no?
There is this black ticket guy has a play on this. చూడాలని ఉంది, చూడాలనుకోవడంతోనే ఆపేయండి ఆర్ సంథింగ్.
చూడాలనుకోవడంతోనే ఆపేయండి, మీరు చూడలేరు అన్నయ్య సినిమా. It's like it's all about చూడడం, and they're having that conversation in front of the theater. Just playing చూడాలని. It's not adding anything new, but it's cute, no?
But people might say the Trivikram does it better. It's okay. I think that is not overtaking the film. I think the biggest complaint about Pushpa 1, especially from Telugu space, is it doesn't have BGM. So yesterday I was observing, it is a sound design driven film. Sound design is taking over, the soundscape is taking over the music, and it worked for me. And I can understand why it hasn't worked for Telugu audience, because Telugu audience love that. I'm not
Criticizing.
I'm not dismissing people. Cinema, we have certain expectations from cinema. I get it. So we like that sound. We like those that ambience and things.
But I'm pretty sure if it had something like a KGF, a more catchy BGM, see, because most of the BGM tracks in Pushpa, they aren't actually hummable.
Exactly.
That's what actually
So
creates...
everything in the movie is they are complementing the narrative. They are not overtaking the narrative at any point. So like any teaser drops in Telugu.
That's also the difference between KGF and Salar.
Yes.
You can't hum a Salar BGM, but you can hum a KGF
Again,
BGM.
I'm very proud that I got the music of Salar right on day one or before. People are now
catching up.
Yeah. So when A.R. Rahman won the Oscar, people were saying it's not his best song.
Which is what people said when Keeravani won Oscar also. Which is what people will say, because but it's not about what's the best. It's about what is reaching most number of people, right? Natu is not Keeravani's best.
Yes.
But that was the song that put him on the map. That's the song that everyone vibed to. That song got the opportunity to reach those many people. Other songs didn't. That's it. It doesn't merit isn't always merit and reach aren't directly proportional. They are never directly proportional.
The music director Devshi Prasad gets a lot of criticism for actually not providing you this rousing background score, but that was not asked of him.
That wasn't the assignment.
Yes, the assignment was, I think, very like the person who's not talked about in this whole process is one more Oscar winner is Rasul Pogutti. It was his film. He whatever the sing sound, the little portion, initially it was supposed to be a whole film was supposed to be sing sound.
It's not possible in India.
True.
Just not.
Especially
we are a very loud country.
Especially for a film of this size.
Yeah.
Where there's like, yesterday I shot an interview, there were like 40 people.
Yeah.
For no reason.
For no reason, yeah.
For no reason.
There'll be 20 people standing and just looking at you.
Yeah.
People will be walking, people will be talking, and it's just for an interview.
Yes.
So imagine that, and you're shooting for some 150 days.
Yes. In that interview, we had a human tripod. There was no tripod, so a guy sat.
Really?
Yeah. With holding a gimbal for the whole interview. That was the reason I had to cut short the interview. Like, from a humanitarian ground. I wanted to do it for 90 minutes, but I was like, okay, fine. Because nobody even thought we need to have a tripod.
It's basic, no Anil.
There's 40 people on the set. I don't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
I'm sure they had their own reasons. I like the team. The interview came out well, and all those things are there. But I'm saying this is how these are the conditions that we are operating in. So it's very difficult for us to have the sync sound and all. So, but nonetheless, the sync sound portions and the portions that were dubbed, they are blended so well. Of course, if we are focusing, it's my job to observe these things. But for most people, it doesn't matter. That's why Tarun Bhaskar's films don't do that well. Tarun Bhaskar is again one more creative filmmaker who exclusively shoots sync sound. I
don't think he did that.
Inagarani did not do that well in single screens, even though it was a single screen film, because of sync sound. That's my conspiracy theory. But anyway,
there's comfort in dubbing, man. Even while listening, a normal dubbed film is more comfortable because it's more familiar. Because
it's not new.
It's not new.
It's not making.
I was watching 35 Chinna Katha Kaadu, which is a very good film. Check it out. At least it took me some 15 to 20 minutes to adjust. Why is this so different? Why I'm in a new territory? It took me some 15 to 20 minutes to adjust to the sounding of the voices.
There's one more problem. Like, I am sure as a kid you might have experienced this. When you're watching a movie on Star Movies, dialogue you can't hear. You'll raise the volume.
And then the sound comes. Yes. I still face it when I'm watching films on Netflix or Prime.
Okay.
They don't calibrate.
They do, but it's done in a way it is supposed to be that.
Yeah. Because, like 3-4 days back, I was watching Pushpa. I was watching Pushpa or something. For the dialogues portions, I'm increasing the volume, and suddenly a movement happens, and then I'm like, okay. People in my house are sleeping. I don't want to wake them up. So
there are some cool shots. The split in the police station, there is a split diopter shot. It's done very well. The blending is done very well. Like the older split diopters were not that good. You could see the separation. Here you don't see the separation.
You don't see the separation,
at all. And it's just done for the kicks of it.
And in that scene, again, I'm coming back to writing. That thing, that if something belongs to me, I'll take it.
Yes.
Which is also a dialogue in the trailer.
Yes.
In Pushpa 2 trailer also, he's saying a different iteration of the same dialogue. He takes that bullet because
it's mine.
It belongs to me. And you still have it. Mental. I love the shot of.
I'm sure again people will come out and say KGF has the same thing. My gold, I'll shoot out a police station for 1 bar of gold.
But in KGF it's an undercurrent.
Throwaway thing.
Yeah.
One of the filler things. It actually doesn't add to the larger narrative.
So how excited are you for part 2?
I'm the most excited, and I don't think India is ready. Like, if the movie is very bad, I don't know.
It won't be. It won't be bad. So how is it possible? Dude, Sukumar hasn't made a bad film yet.
Telugu film industry things are possible.
It's not possible. Sukumar is incapable of making a bad film. He can't make a bad film. He just can't. There's Allu Arjun also.
The thing is, like, Allu Arjun's filmography might not translate beyond Telugu states. But very interestingly,
it'll change on December 5th.
He had a... I know we cannot calibrate YouTube views to commercials and all, but his films were being watched before Pushpa also.
Yeah. No, Arya Ek Deewana, I studied in Pune, my 11th and 12th. A lot of people, they knew Arya Ek Deewana. Ek Deewana tha or some Ek Deewana, I think. Arya 2 is dubbed as that, and a lot of my classmates, they knew
Race
that.
Giram is huge.
See, back then, I'm not, again, not to trigger fandoms or anything. At least from the 5 or 6 people I used to hang out with, they knew Ravi Teja, they knew Allu Arjun. Okay. Because their films were quite popular during the Set Max. Those days, the TV channel Star Gold, those days.
Sure.
Now, obviously, things have changed.
Maybe we can conclude. The whole point of today's thing is, again,
Sukumar is a fucking amazing filmmaker, and you should
watch his other films.
His filmography.
But Pushpa 2 is not your basic rundown commercial pan-India film. It is a bona fide, legit, great film. Like Spielberg's movies make money, but they are also great films.
Yeah.
So I'm not comparing Pushpa to Spielberg, but Pushpa is a bona fide great film. I understand Telugu people don't like it for a few reasons, and this.
No, don't say Telugu people don't like it. Like,
no, they don't like it.
I don't.
No, because this is a constant theme I get. Like they don't
No,
like.
or maybe we should stop listening to those 100 people on Twitter.
No, it's not about 100 people on Twitter. Culturally, like your mom was surprised, right? That somebody was asking her about Pushpa. When was the last time normal people are talking about Pushpa in their day-to-day things?
At least here I don't.
Yeah, I'm talking about here.
Hmm.
So it's not something that people look
But
up.
everything will change on December 5th.
See, it's talked about because it is getting national award. What is this? Like they're surprised every time why this is happening.
I think that's also because of our proclivity to look down on commercial cinema and
No.
and putting Pushpa in the same
We
bracket,
all
which
love-
is what we are trying to say that.
So bottom line is Pushpa is not your run of the mill commercial films. You can see it that way, but there are other aspects to it as well which make it a great cinematic achievement as well.
It is, which is what the entire
Yes.
conversation was about.
Yes.
If you haven't already figured it out.
Yes.
Thank you, man. Thank you so
Yes.
much
No,
for
hope-
coming on our podcast.
And it's a privilege.
No,
Usually
it's-
there's only celebrities on this channel.
No, it's chill. I'm very excited. December 5th, we'll watch it. I'm waiting for the 1 a.m. show in.
It's not 5th, it's on
Prasad.
4th only.
No, 5th. 5th early morning, 1 a.m. It won't have.
We are-
I'm not sure.
So there might be 12 a.m. shows.
Waiting. But again, I'm kind of pissed off that the film is releasing in 3D. Because all the best screens will be allocated for 3D, which is what I'm pissed off about. But yeah, waiting for December 5th. Very, very excited. Very, very excited.
Yes.
That's it. Let's see.
And it's going to be redemption arc for Rashmika as well. My favorite.
Great. Can't wait. December 5th. See you.
Bye guys.
Bye.
Taste Daily. Taste the Daily.
அனுஜ் ஸ்டைல்ஸ் ரகங்கள் பலவிதம் ஒவ்வொன்றும் உலகத்தரம்.
Holidays nale adu namma GT Holidays da. South India's #1 travel brand.